purchases. Cool. All right, since they don't have questions right now, maybe you could start telling them like just the grind and the journey. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. We teach 10-year-olds, and
Hmm.
every single one of them thinks that they're going to Duke.
Oh,
Which
for
is yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. In their heads right now, they're still all Duke bound.
Oh
So
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
See, I thought I was going to North Carolina.
no. Yeah, we were all there, especially as athletes. So I just kind of want you to tell
Yeah.
them like it's definitely plausible, feel me? But I want you to
Hmm.
like give them the realities and like what it took you to get to where you are today.
All right. So me, I played basketball. Well, actually, I was a foster kid. So when I ended up getting adopted, I started playing basketball when I was 9 years old. So that was my first time ever playing organized basketball. So I played high school, varsity, AAU. I even got to play college basketball. But even though I got to play all those things, I still wasn't, good enough to make it to the NBA. So I started, seeing that and putting the picture together. So that's when I started figuring out other ways that I could still have basketball in my life without also you know, being able to play as much as I wanted to with my
Okay.
career. So that's what helped me get into to dunking. So I had I had just recently dropped out of college because I think at the time I was failing a lot of my classes and it just wasn't for me at the time. It just wasn't for me. So I just remember I had to go work on a Black Friday. And I just remember telling myself I never ever want to have to work on a Black Friday ever again. So that's when I was having dinner with my dad one day. He said, "Joe, you gotta figure out what you're good at, figure out what you like to do." And at the time, like the only thing I could think of was, I like playing basketball and I'm good at jumping high and dunking a basketball. So just guys I used to, play basketball with in high school or in AAU, they'd always reach out to me about doing the dunking thing, but I would never pay any mind to it. But this time I actually reached out to someone, and they ended up getting me in contact with this man called Daniel O'Keefe, and in New England, I'm from Massachusetts. He does this little thing called the Inspirational Hoops Tour. So he travels around, many different cities in Massachusetts, going to the schools, giving the children, inspirational speeches, and will sometimes, give them a little dunking exhibition or play a basketball game against them. So I got started doing that. So that was my first ever, professional dunk job that I did. So I think that day I got paid $20. All right. So that was the first time I got paid for dunking, but it was just a cool experience just being able to go out there and do what I love. So, but one thing about doing this basketball thing is this dunk thing, like I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love the game and I love what it brings to people and it just helped me develop as a person. So that's one reason why, I love doing this basketball thing. So after the Inspirational Hoops tour, I ended up going back to working at a Best Buy. So while I was training at Best Buy, I got this call from it was from this California number and I didn't recognize it, so I ignored it twice. And then the third time I ended up picking it up. And it happened to be from the TNT producers. So I was on the TV show TNT's Dunking with the top 24 dunkers in the world. So I got to meet Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, Reggie Miller, Dr. J. So this is probably like my second ever major dunk event, in the dunking world. So it's all starting to happen pretty fast for me. So after that happened, that's when I started to realize that, doing this professional dunking thing would be for me. So I just remember after I went to Atlanta, I filmed a TV show. I still wasn't had a consistent job doing the dunking thing. So I was still, trying to work all these other jobs and still doing events on the side. But I think it got to one point in my life. I had to take a bet on myself, and I just stopped working. And I would tell my parents that I was going to work, but instead I was going to the gym at 8:30 in the morning. And since my parents thought I was working, like I made them think that I was coming home from work at 5 o'clock. So I'd be in the gym from 8:30 to just 5 o'clock, just, playing basketball, working on my dunks, just because, in my heart, I felt that, I was gonna achieve any goal that I had set for myself at the time. And at the time, the goal was to be a professional dunker. So after the Dunk King TV show aired, I ended up reaching out to one of the guys I met while I did the TV show, and he played for the world famous Harlem Wizards. So I ended up getting a tryout with them this summer of 2017. So I went in there, and when I went to try out, I was hurt. I had pulled my groin back in February. So this is about June. So I'm trying to, make a team with a messed up leg. I just remember my team manager, he told me that I wasn't supposed to make the team because my tryout was so bad. But now I'm one of the most important, pieces within the company. So uh, that's that's just something that's always been important to me because it just shows how much I've worked over the years just to get to where I am right now. So one thing I always say is to work hard, like the grind. It's going to be a hard grind to get wherever you're at, but when you get there, the reward and that feeling of knowing how hard you work to get there, it's the best feeling ever. And just because I'm able to do this dunk thing, I'm still also able to be involved with, a lot of other basketball things. So it was like a couple weeks ago, I got asked to do a dunk contest. It's a virtual dunk contest, so and that's going to be judged by Baron Davis and Nate Robinson. So I'm still involved, and I get to interact with a lot of NBA players and professional athletes around the world. So one thing I will say is make sure you're always working hard. Make sure you take care of whatever you have to do in the classroom. Respect your teachers, your parents, and you know make sure you guys are how can I say this? Being yourselves, guys. Be yourselves. Don't try to be cool. Just try your best to be yourselves, because sometimes you'll end up getting caught up with the wrong things trying to be cool. So just be yourself at all times, guys. Any other questions, guys?
Thank you so much. So at this point, obviously you guys can use the chat feature. And again, you can turn on your mics and just or your cameras and ask questions as well. But the floor is yours. Um,
Yeah, kids, don't be afraid to say anything. I'm a
they act like they're shy, but they're not, and it's
yeah,
annoying.
guys.
I
I used to
know.
be like you guys when I was younger. So,
One of them asked, "What position do you play?"
what position? All right. So, because I was able to jump so high when I was in school, they had me playing a big man. So, you guys probably, I'm not sure if you guys know, but you guys know Nerlens Noel. I think he plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. So when I was in high school, I had to guard him. So I'm 5'11" and he's almost 7 feet tall. All right, so those are the type of players I had to guard. So I was a big man in a small man's body. But now these days I play like a point guard or a shooting guard.
So,
So any other questions?
um, one of them asked, "What's your favorite thing to do off the court?"
All right, so one of my favorite things to do off the court. So, um, I got a lot of things I like to do. I enjoy cooking. I used to watch the Food Network a lot, so I try to chef it up. I like to sing. I don't have the best singing voice, but I try my best. What else do I do? I also recently I've been getting into photography. So last summer I did a photo shoot for Converse, and the photographer for that photo shoot was it was Allen Iverson's old photographer. So actually, I was actually working with him yesterday. We had a photo shoot. So he gave me this book, this Allen Iverson book. But him and I, we work together. So, I do a lot of modeling on this side as well. But photography, just, a lot, other things, I try to make sure I explore my talents outside of basketball, just in case, when there's a day that I'm not able to play, there's other things that I'm able to fall back on. I also enjoy coaching basketball. That's something I like to do in my off time and going out into my community and helping others. What else? What else, guys?
Love it. Um,
Evan.
Do I do I ever miss my dunks? Um, yes, I do miss my dunks. That's why, I make sure I practice them so I don't miss them. I think I don't really miss a lot of my easy dunks. I miss the hard dunks, so like my 360 windmill, and that's my go-to dunk. So I don't really miss that a lot. So when I do miss it, it's either because, my legs are sore or I just miss calculated everything. But yeah, it's not that embarrassing because, basketball players they also miss shots too, and it's not embarrassing to them. It's just part of the game. So,
exactly.
any other questions, guys?
They haven't asked anything. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned you mentioned something that is one of my favorite things ever. You said that you betted on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't want that to go over their head. I want you to kind of like explain that and like the risk and what that took and like how you feel about doing that so young and like the rewards now, right?
All right, so when I just remember when I made the decision that I was going to become a professional dunker, I was working at this store called Zara, and the my manager she was asking me about my because she didn't know that I had just recently dropped out of college, so she was asking me if she can get my class schedule, and I told her I don't have a class schedule. I dropped out of school to become a professional dunker and a model. And like right after I said that, she busted out laughing at me. And like I was so confused because I didn't understand why she was laughing at me because I guess in her mind she felt like, I couldn't do that or she didn't believe in me enough that I was able to do that. So one thing I will say is guys, believe in yourself and no matter if anyone else doesn't believe in you, make sure you believe in yourself. Because as long as you believe in yourself, you know the type of talent that you have. Um, and as long as you keep working at the goal that you set for yourself, you'll be able to achieve it. Like I try to tell people, like anything you want to do in this world, like you can achieve it as long as you work hard and put your mind to it. You gotta surround yourself around the right people as well. So I always tell people like make sure the people that keep in your life are the people who see something in you that you don't even see in yourself. So I just remember I had this basketball coach. He used to always, hype me up, even when I felt like I wasn't doing good at all. So and he's just always been an important figure in my life. So every time I see him, it's a big hug because he was one of those people that saw something in me that I never saw in myself. Oh, what was that question? The last question someone just asked me? Let me go check that chat. What's your meaning on when you fall down, get back up? Huh. Well, when you fall down, get back up. Well, me, I wouldn't say I had a rough childhood, but it just wasn't normal like everyone else's. So I went into foster care when I was like 4 years old. So I was separated from my family. And, I had to bounce from house to house, the young part of my childhood. So I think being positive and patience as a kid. It just helped me with life and everything. So, when you get knocked down, that's a lesson. Whatever you learn through that process, use that to get to the next step in life. All right, guys, because every or what do you practice during quarantine? What do I practice during quarantine? What do I practice during quarantine? Well, I've been I've been working on my crazy dunks. So like my 360 between the leg. What else? My 360 scoop, a regular between the legs, my 540 dunk. Um, who is your favorite basketball player? Professional. My favorite professional basketball player. Hmm. Well, guys, right now, I would say Paul George. I love how he plays, or James Harden. But one of my favorite players of all time was Kobe Bryant. I don't know if you guys can see the Kobe Bryant tattoo, but Kobe Bryant, he was, one of my role models growing up. So, when he died, it was devastating. I'm also a Lakers fan as well, because he was one of my role models because he was also a basketball player, but he was also able to show his other talents as well. So that's another reason why I look up to Kobe, because he just taught me that I can always be more than a basketball player. So that's one thing I also try to, teach children as well is as long as you can have your sports and be cool at that, but make sure you have other things to do. You can be a doctor, scientist, astronaut, a chef, you know, or a musician, anything, guys. As long as you guys work hard, take care of what you guys, an engineer. Actually, one of my best friends is an engineer. So I'm actually gonna see him today, probably in a protest that I'm going to. So, got any more questions, guys? I can answer questions all day. I have nothing to do.
So our little humans actually have their history final today.
Oh yeah,
So
history
yeah,
was
so
one of my favorite subjects in science.
good. They all love history from my understanding, so hopefully they do
That's
well
good.
today. So we're actually going to let you go,
All right,
just because we want to get them prepared for today. But thank you so much.
problem.
And I'm sure they are especially all of my boys in here who are always playing basketball during lunch. I'm sure they're very happy to have heard from me today.
All
Of
right,
course,
can I say one more thing to the kids?
of
Yeah.
course.
All right, so guys, one thing that I say when I go around to these schools and I talk to the kids is we have this thing called bears that we use. You guys know what the animal is, bears. Well, bears to us it means B stands for behavior, the E stands for effort, the A stands for attitude, and the R, well, it could be for two things, responsibility and respect, and all those things equals success. So you guys remember that? That would be good.
Thank you so much. I will make sure to email you the recording. And thank you. Just thank you. Thank you very much.
Problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Really
Of
appreciate
course.
you, man. Thank you. Be
You guys
safe.
have
Thank
a
you.
nice day. I'll try my best.
All right, DCSU. You guys can head on to Google Classroom at this point. Mr. L is here, so he's also going to give you guys your pump up. But while you are doing that, make sure you're logging on to Google Classroom.